I'd like to call the December 15th, 2021 regular December meeting of the Fenton Community High School District 100 regular board meeting to order. May I have a roll call?
Yes. Figueroa.
Yeah, here.
Haid.
Here.
Jalowick.
Here.
Redzinski.
Here.
Rago.
Here.
Ting-Po-Pong.
Here. And we have a quorum. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
James, please read our Fenton mission, beliefs, and Bison Way statements.
Our mission statement: cultivate successful, passionate, empowered learners through rigor, relevance, and relationships. Our Fenton belief statement: successful, passionate, empowered learners thrive when we provide a safe, caring, and welcoming environment. Diversity, equity, and inclusion unify our community. School and home collaborate as one. We champion innovative teaching and engaged learning with state-of-the-art facilities. We infuse social-emotional learning into academics and culture. We prepare students to fulfill their civic responsibility. We immerse students in authentic life experiences. Our Bison Way: students and adults at Fenton High School create a safe, caring, empathetic environment where we believe in each other, respect diversity, communicate openly, grow together, and hold each other to high expectations to become the leaders and innovators of the future.
Thank you, James. Next, we will appoint, or we have a new member appointment to fill the seat that Paul Wiedemann left. For new Board of Education member appointment, may I have a motion that the Board of Education approve Carrie Lewis as the new school board member for Fenton Community High School to fill the current vacancy?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Did you guys
Leo
catch it?
and Juliet.
Okay. Great.
Figueroa.
Yes.
Haid.
Yes.
Jalowick.
Yes.
Redzinski.
Yes.
Rago.
Yes.
Ting-Po-Pong.
Yes. Motion passed, and we have filled the seat. Carrie Lewis. Oh, you got it. Okay.
Say, don't get comfortable though.
Okay, yep, go ahead. So welcome aboard. Did you
Thank
want to
you.
make any statements? For now, or are you good?
Thank you, Sean. This is just an extension of the investment I've made over the years, investing in the kids I've coached, and just another step going in that direction. Hopefully continue to make an impact. Thank you.
Thank you, very good. So in order to fulfill your office, we have to have you sign in, so we have an oath of office for you to read, so please do so.
I, Carrie Lewis, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Fenton Community High School, District 100, in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector to the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board. While respecting the privacy of students and employees, I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As a part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Fenton Community High School District 100. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure that a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community's school to advance the vision for Fenton Community High School District 100. I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Wow.
Feel free, you guys want to welcome him? Yep.
You want a group picture with that backdrop? They have to step forward because their heads are all lit up. Hi, how are you? Congratulations.
There we go. You fill it there.
There we go, just like this way.
Perfect.
Ready?
Wait, have your mask on? Or do you?
Rick, one more behind you.
I was just gonna say, one more behind you, Rick.
He's gotta get the other phone out.
Yeah, she would.
All right.
Did you get your shot? Okay. Yeah.
And now we need to, since Paul Wiedemann had resigned, we have a vacancy in the vice president position. So we are looking at reassigning a vice president. Do I have any nominations for the vice president position?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Juliet Regal.
Okay.
I nominate myself to.
Okay. So then, I forget how we do this. So do we vote first? Or do we vote in, or we do a vote for Juliet first, or both together?
Juliet first, then Leah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
Okay, just a raise of hand for Juliet then? For vice president, for Juliet
For
for
vice
vice president, yep. Okay. And then for Leo?
Just me.
Okay. So then, Juliet, you are our vice president now. Congratulations. So now that we've fulfilled, okay, so we switch roles, please? Yep, switch seats. Sorry for the few little
Rotate.
chairs. Yep.
No,
Didn't say anything?
Don't get too comfortable.
yeah, no.
Drag you slow here.
Congratulations. That's why I said, don't get comfortable.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, you do.
Juliet, if I have anything to say, I'll just pass a note.
See an
Yeah, it's
airplane
fine.
flying.
Leave it there.
Congratulations.
And also, so congratulations. We do have board committee appointments as well. And so we'll start with one position in the Finance and Facility Committee to fill.
So who's the already, who else is sitting in the finance facility besides? So it's, yep, to accompany John since Paul left. This one's an important one.
Okay, you know what?
Can we get the mic getting hot? Is it?
The projector's there.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell us about this committee?
Sure. Okay, real quick, the finance facility meetings is exactly what it says. It looks at our budget to make sure we're fiscally responsible. It also talks about our facilities. Facilities meaning this physical school building as well as our campus, our fields and property within it. As you know, we all know we did a facilities assessment. That's why this is so critical, especially with our a potential referendum run to improve our facilities. This facility, the committee will probably meet 4 times a year and probably pick up as we move forward with our building initiatives.
Okay, just to let you know, we are all on subcommittees as well. And so these are some of the ones that are coming open or?
That's a real good point too,
Yeah.
Patty. Let me just read the committees here and people shout out if they're in that committee. I believe in the Bensenville Community Foundation, Sylvia and Juliet. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes. DEI Committee is Sylvia and Kit. Board Finance Committee, it's John, and that's the position we're looking for, Carrie. And the Illinois Association of School Board Delegate, that's Kit. Len, that's myself, but I need an alternative for that, which is
That's-
Leo.
I thought I was the alternate. for
She
that.
was the, no.
She's now the alternate. Okay, got it.
She
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Alternate
Yellow.
for Glenn.
And NEDSEC, I'm
And-
usually the representative, and we need an alternate for that one.
Maybe we should tell Carrie what the commitment is for that also.
Okay. For the Finance Facility Committee, it's usually before the board meeting, Carrie, and we're probably going to meet 4 times a year. Okay? For the LEND Committee, it's usually once a month. I usually attend that, and I will contact an individual. Hey, look, I can't make this meeting. Could you attend it for me? I'm usually I haven't missed one yet.
Do you know what day of the week is that?
It's usually Friday, 8
Friday.
a.m.
Friday, 8 a.m.?
I will say, just by default, because Paul was also on the Finance Committee, I'd like to appoint you to it, if that's okay.
Yes, I accept that to the finance committee. That was the one I was,
Thank you, thank you. Great, thank you.
Then also the NEDSEC alternate.
And we also have the NEDSEC Committee.
Yeah.
What date is that one? Doesn't that meet like on a Monday?
That's
Monday.
usually a Monday. Yep.
Monday at 3 p.m. There is 2 meetings. There is the governing meeting and the operations. So the operational is at 3 p.m., the governing meeting at 4 p.m. But
Leo-
usually it's like 15 to 20 minutes. It's not that long.
Leo's the current sitting president for the governance, and he would need an alternate for that if he can't make the meeting. But Leo doesn't miss the meeting as well, so. We just need an alternate. Once a month, usually Monday.
I used to, but I work on Mondays now. so
All right,
I-
right.
I got work, I'd hate to commit and not be able to be there as
Sure.
an alternate.
Mondays are my work day too. That's a bad day for me. I'm
So we
very
continue.
interested in that one.
Don't
Now,
let
come
them-
on, don't give it to the new guy again.
No. No, too much. He's gonna have too much on his plate.
Is it possible that we leave it where it's at, and then Leah would call someone who could fill?
Yeah.
Let's do that. let's
I mean,
leave that
with
open.
notice, I may be able to adjust my schedule if I'm not teaching. So, I mean, yeah, I think that might be best and see whose work will allow. Yeah, with a couple days' notice, as long as I don't have a class, I could make that adjustment for a 3 o'clock. Where is it?
It's
In
at.
Roselle.
In Roselle,
Roselle.
yep, North Decatur.
Yeah, with some notice and an adjustment to my schedule, work permitting, I may be able to help out with that.
Absolutely. Okay, that's fine.
Great, so that's settled. Yeah, next order of business is public comments. Do we have any requests for public comments today?
We have no one signed in.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Information items, James.
Sure. Real quick, this one is public comments. Here we go. Just get my notes here. All right. The next topic here is public engagement and phase update. This topic is about public engagement and our phase update with EOS. EOS is a consulting firm in regards to a referendum. Here's a quick summary of this project. Prior to the pandemic, the board authorized a facility audit of our entire campus. That includes the building and grounds. The facility audit was conducted by our architect, which is STR. After the audit was completed, STR presented the findings to the board and staff. STR also conducted an educational adequacy focus group involving staff and administrators. After the focus groups, the district asked STR to prioritize their facility assessment and other findings and calculate the cost to improve the facilities. Then, the COVID pandemic hit. We took a pause. Everything was halted with this initiative. Fenton went into remote learning and later hybrid learning. In July 2021, STR presented to the board the cost to improve the facilities. The Board of Education hired E.O. Sullivan consulting firm to guide us through a potential referendum. E.O.S. Sullivan has a 4-phase approach. Phase 1 focused on presenting the conditions of Fenton High School and to gather community feedback. Phase 2 presents potential solutions based on community feedback. Phase 3 will narrow the potential solutions and gather feedback. Phase 4, make a recommendation to the Board of Education. At this time, we would like to present our Phase 1 video. It is a good summary of our Phase 1 initiative. Jim? Fenton unites our community. Our staff is passionate about helping students achieve their potential. Bienvenido, welcome to Fenton High School. I'm Superintendent James Ontenko. In Fenton Community High School District 100, all our students become successful, passionate learners. Each and every student has the opportunity to succeed in anything they choose. Fenton was named the 2019 National AP District of the Year for its efforts in improving access and results in the AP courses. Fenton performs well above state average in AP course participation, college readiness, 9th grade on track with 97%, high school graduation rate at 93%. Fenton students have won numerous state championships in speech and been consistent participants in state tournaments across many sports and activities. Our staff is committed to equitable practices that meet every student at their individual level and provide the necessary support for meaningful learning. Our college readiness rate among low-income students is 24% higher than the state average. Our low-income graduation rate is 16% higher than the state average. We achieve this success through rigor, relevance, and relationships. Our staff is passionate about helping students achieve their potential. Fenton teachers and coaches build relationship with our students and help them succeed. These characteristics have resulted in our teachers, coaches, and board members earning statewide recognition. All this happens in classes with the lowest student-to-teacher ratio and second lowest average class size in DuPage County. Fenton has an average class size of 22 and an overall 17 students per teacher. Our team works tirelessly to create a safe and secure environment for our staff and our students. This includes a newly constructed foyer that controls all activities using 2 security-controlled doorways, safe and appropriate internet access for all students to use in this evolving digital world. Our entire staff champions social and emotional learning to develop self-awareness, empathy, and confidence in our students. Fenton unites our community. From families to staff to community leaders, we all partner together to prepare our children for their futures. We have a strong parent outreach programs, which includes parent-teacher organization, or PTO, Padres Unidos, Polish outreach, and adult basic education programs. Our local senior citizens attend Fenton plays and musicals for free. Fenton has been a source of strength and hope for the community throughout the COVID-19 global pandemic. We provided free food to anyone who was hungry. We acquired in-demand supplies to clean our school and create a safe learning spaces for students and staff to return safely. Fenton was a leader in distributing that life-saving COVID-19 vaccine to more than 7,300 members of our staff and the community. Fenton is committed to the transparent and timely communication. We do this through weekly and monthly newsletters, active websites and social media presence, and annual community reports. We have also taken important steps to make our district more fiscally responsible. We carefully evaluate our staffing needs each school year so as much money as possible goes into the classrooms and our students. We've had a balanced budget for the last 5 years by controlling spending and thoughtfully planning facility improvements. We have the lowest bond and interest fund tax rate among DuPage High School districts. Fenton's overall tax rate is significantly lower than the state average. Even with all of these improvements, there is one significant obstacle we just can't overcome, and that is the lack of space in our aging school building. We make do with what we have in our 1950s building, but our second-rate facilities are keeping our students from reaching their full potential. Our infrastructure has been extended well beyond its useful life. Mechanical system, plumbing, electrical system need to be addressed to keep the building safe and healthy. Flooding on school grounds continues to be problematic. Our classrooms and learning areas are small and outdated. Our cafeteria is too small, forcing kids to eat in the hallways. Our security system needs improvement. Fenton's athletic, music facilities, and auditoriums are subpar and old. Airflow is inconsistent, with some kids sweating in one room and the others freezing in another. The smell in our science and social studies wing is notorious. This holds our students and teachers back in academics and extracurricular. It creates significant safety concerns for everyone in our school. It packs our students into small classrooms that were too small even before COVID. Now the need for more space and cleaner air is even more urgent so we can keep our school open. Some of our sports teams can't even host a game or tournament here on our campus. Our kids deserve better. With improved and safe facilities, our students will perform better. They'll have the newfound sense of pride that comes with attending a school with 21st century learning environment, just like other students in DuPage County. They'll reach their full potential through blended learning, STEM, extracurriculars, and sports. They'll have more opportunities to follow their passion, graduating healthier, more well-rounded, and ready for high-wage careers. If these are the futures we want for our children, we must act now. Every year, the improvements needed at our school becomes more expensive. The longer we wait, the less we will be able to do. That's why we've launched a comprehensive community engagement process. Working together and sharing our ideas and passions, we will create a roadmap for the future of Fenton. This video is part of our formal community engagement efforts that will be conducted through March of 2022 to develop a plan for the future of our school that is driven by the community. This extensive collaboration will ensure that our final community-driven plan is fair, fiscally responsible, and reflective of the wishes of our community. Folks, thank you for your time. Please join us and be involved. Thank you. Included a tour of the building. I cannot say it enough. The tour of the building is really powerful for people to see. It's really a good exercise to demonstrate the age of the building, the condition of the building, the space of the building, and what's lacking there. And the responses have been very, very positive and supportive of this initiative. People want to improve our facilities. Okay, what are the next steps? The administration in January 4th will meet with EOS Sullivan, and EOS Sullivan again is our consulting firm, when we return from the break and discuss phase 2 and phase 3. Next step would be EOS Sullivan will attend the regular board meeting in January and present their findings to the board in regards to phase 2. That's pretty much it for now. Any questions?
So the questionnaire went out, right? And who did that go out to?
The phone questionnaire or?
No, it was an email.
Surveys.
It was an
The-
email, yeah,
The surveys.
surveys.
Rick, could you guide that one? The email survey, not the phone, phase 1, I believe.
The presentations have been converted and they're on our website. We are still working with the consultant on the actual survey to embed. So that will go to our Fenton community because we have their contact info. And they can certainly forward it on to anybody they want. So that'll be probably tomorrow morning.
And that went out to, or is going out to,
It'll be an e-blast to all of our students' parents. But it's on our public-facing website, so.
okay, I just wonder if it should be to more of the community who doesn't really know about Fenton and.
It's available to them if somebody forwards it to them. We don't have everybody's email address, that's the thing. We have all of ours. So if you would like to pass it on to your neighbors, that's absolutely possible.
Rick, isn't there's also a way to get, I see what Patty's saying, hey, look, we want to encompass everyone. We want to throw a wider net to Bensonville and Wooddale. And I believe that's where the phone survey comes in. Is that accurate?
Yes, the phone survey went to a large mass of publicly available phone numbers. And we know it worked because a lot of them called us to make sure it was legitimate. And it's the same questions, the same phrasing.
Okay.
And there's other campaigns, right? Not just email, but phone calls, what else? Mailers?
can't hear.
Oh, as far as other campaigns, so we've got email blasts, we've got calls,
Mailing,
mailings, anything else?
email blast, phone mail,
So the
calls, regular
survey
mail.
on our website will also be distributed on social media,
Okay,
and the two municipalities have been pretty good at sharing our posts at times, so that helps.
okay.
That's
And
why we
we-
hire a consultant as well. We're working very closely. Hey, look, they wanted to hit emails, they want to hit social media, they want to hit regular mail and email blasts.
And we do what we can to reach out to the groups that already assemble, like our PTO. They put out a blast, because sometimes a familiar face and a familiar name helps.
Right.
It's like seeing an email from Mr. Aguilar is very
There's also a
comforting.
text blast as well, so.
Mhm.
How
text.
about newsletters, the Bensonville newsletter and the Wooddale newsletters? No?
So the challenging part about those is they get designed about a month and a half before they go out. So portions of the survey process are either over or the next one is starting.
Gotcha.
But we are writing about this process in those newsletters.
Were there any discussions held about possibly either village posting it on a link to the video on their website?
That's a great question, Carrie. Wooddale did reach out to me asking if they could post the video as well as
The survey?
our website link to all the surveys that's on our website. So a link so that their website talks to our website, including the video. Good question there.
Not Bentonville.
Bensonville, we're working on Bensonville. We would like to get on their spotlight on Bensonville, which is their TV channel. Bensonville Village, they have attended our public engagements. I know the village managers have attended our public engagement as well as one of their board members.
Has it-
Wooddale, all of the city councils have attended.
Any tours given to our taxing bodies?
Yes, whether it's Park District, Library, Fire and Chief, they are all aware of what we're doing here, our initiatives with our public engagement, our initiatives with facilities, both at the Bensonville level as well as the Wooddale level, as well as the Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
And obviously the school districts, the District 2 and District 7. Okay, thanks, Rick. Next one is equity report. This is Mr. Barago with his equity report for this month.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Barago, and this is our equity report. Our December commemorative observances and holidays are the following. On December 28th to December 6th was Hanukkah. December 25th is Christmas Day, and December 26th to January 1st is Kwanzaa. Our third session of the Grading for Equity book study took place on November 29th. Our instructional coaches did a fantastic job facilitating thoughtful conversations about the impacts of grading regarding the three pillars of being accurate, bias resistant, and motivational. I was fortunate to sit in with a group where we discussed the importance of these pillars. In addition, we concluded that regardless of what adjustments we make, it is imperative to develop trusting relationships with our students in order for any meaningful changes to take effect. As always, big shout out to the instructional coaches for providing a safe and brave space for teachers to have such meaningful conversations. On December 9th, Kate Ward, Michelle Papanicolo, and myself presented at the DuPage Equity and Excellence Network meeting. Our presentation focused on Fenton's equity journey that began in 2013 when we brought in equal opportunity schools to remove barriers and increase diversity in student enrollment in our AP courses. We highlighted our great work with Dr. Yvette Dubio and the amazing progress we are making in just the first semester of implementing our equity action plan. We should be very proud as a district of the progress we are making and continue to leverage the momentum we have built. Speaking of equity action plan, here are the end of semester review. First up, systems. This crew has been researching a number of school districts and other institutions in order to develop our own statement and DEI definitions. The Strand has completed the final version that will be posted on our school website. The student voice, climate, and culture strand is making an impact. As previously mentioned, Mr. Madel has done a great job creating a safe and brave environment for students to voice their concerns. Our productive meetings with students have led to changes in our dress code policy that will officially take effect in the next school year. There is nothing more exciting than having our very own students advocate for themselves and in turn make a school-wide impact that removes bias from our policies and ensures equal treatment. The Professional Learning Strand launched the Equity Self-Audit on November 29th to all staff. The purpose of the audit is to help staff recognize where they are at in their equity journey. We believe that change comes from within, and to successfully create meaningful changes, we must acknowledge our biases. In addition, the audit will help the strand along with a teaching and learning strand to determine appropriate professional training opportunities that are targeted based on the data. Analysis of the data and planning for training opportunities will begin when we reconvene next semester. The Strand also finalized our Equity Professional Development Statement that will be recited at every PD to ground all facilitators and attendees and establish an equity mindset. The Teaching and Learning Strand is in the process of planning the implementation of Illinois' cultural relevant teaching and leading standards. Using data from the self-audit, the Strand plans on dissecting what teachers are already doing and filling in the gaps through professional development opportunities. The Strand's goals of implementing equitable grading systems and policies is in progress through our school-wide book study. Last but definitely not least is our Family and Community as Agency Strand. This ambitious group is in the process of finalizing plans for big events coming up in the new year. First, on January 13, 2022, we will host our second BPAC meeting outside of Fenton High School for the first time. The meeting will be held at the Bensonville Public Library. For those who are unfamiliar with BPAC, it is our bilingual Parents Advisory Council that encompasses Padres Unidos and our Polish Parents Group. The goal for hosting this meeting outside of Fenton High School is to expose parents to other community entities that can help support them and their families. On February 10th, the Strand will leverage our BPAC meeting to initiate the creation of our Equity Advisory Committee that will consist of parents and students. This is part of our Equity Action Plan. At this meeting, Padres Unidos, Polish Parents Group, Asian Parents Group, Black Student Union representatives, the PTO, and Booster will be invited to learn about our Equity Action Plan. Those who are in attendance will be encouraged to join our Equity Advisory Committee. The meeting will be held at the Deer Grove Leisure Center. Fenton High School is rocking and rolling, and we're just getting started. Let's keep this momentum going as we begin the new year. Until then, I wish you all the best of holidays and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Cannot tell the board how excited we are for the district equity leadership team to hit the road running. Mike said we're rocking and rolling. Let me just take you back a couple years ago. It was about pre-pandemic. We were the first school working with the Regional Office of Education to have an equity audit. We felt like we needed to make sure that all of our students, as well as staff, are equitable, okay? What you have seen when Mike described the 5-strand, I really love how he described it, is that they're also, these strands right now, especially the family, are working with other groups like Black Student Union, PTOs, to get the word out, right? To expand, to build a relationship, which is all very, very exciting for this sort of work. So the District Equity Leadership Team, sometimes called DELT, is composed of 38 staff members, including administrators, teachers, as well as non-certified staff. It is a cross-section of our staff, and it just shows and demonstrates how passionate we are about this initiative. Okay, any questions there? Okay, and you guys met Dr. Dubiel as well before. Let's go ahead and move on. Open lunch pilot program. Before I turn the mic over to Dr. Benson here, just real quick, this initiative is really about the COVID, right? We want to social distance, and especially during the colder months. I heard it was 64 outside today, unbelievable for December. I wish I was out there. So as the colder months comes, we need to make sure our kids are socially distanced, and this is it's a pilot program once again. We're gonna pilot it for the month of January, see how it's going. If it's going well, we continue to February. If it doesn't, we shut it down in February. Hope I didn't steal your thunder, Sam, but on to you.
No, that's fine. This will be a pretty quick update, but just so you know, we have initiated the process where we're soliciting parent permission for students, seniors, to pilot this open lunch program. It's going to start second semester, and thus far at last count, we had about 120 seniors that are signed up. You could see the breakdown by lunch period. Fourth hour lunch tends to be heavy senior lunch period, hence the little bit of higher numbers. Thanks to Dr. Batson and Mike Barago, who you saw in the equity report, we devised a scanning system which is linked to the spreadsheet. So we will have oversight of students, basically scanning their ID, and then if they're part of the program, they're free to go. If for some reason someone decides to scan their ID, they're not part of the program, then they're not. So, but we don't anticipate any issues with that. But just understand there is oversight of the program. It's going to start second semester, and we'll probably get some extra communication out to those seniors, just letting them know you're all set, you're ready to go, and starting second semester, they're having open lunch.
What if they choose to maybe not go one day? Can they do that? Or do they have to-
Absolutely, right. They don't have to go every day. We'll know when they leave because they'll go out door one. That's part of the parameters of the program. And so it's totally up to them. Let's say today it's really, really cold and they're like, I don't want to go open lunch today. They can exercise that right.
Any other questions?
Just real briefly, so parents are coordinated somewhat with this, right? And
Yes.
Right, they had a form that they had to sign off on with all the legalese on it about the program and give permission. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Next slide, please. Real quick, COVID-19 updates. You've seen it all week. You receive our letter. We had COVID incidents every single day. It matches the DuPage trend as well as the Illinois trend there. It's on the rise there, folks. You see there, that's all of age level across DuPage. This one is the pediatric level here. I can't really see that far. Green is, the highest there is 5 to 14. Thank you so much. As we know, there's vaccination being offered for 12 and up, but those are concerning to everyone here at Fenton. Next slide. This slide right here is the COVID hospitalization. We also see the hospitalization. I think this is important to all of us here as well. So we see a rise there as well. So what are we doing about it? We're doubling down on the 3 W's, kind of like what we did last year. The 3 W's is, again, is wash your hands, wear a mask, and watch your distance. So we just need to reiterate that because there is COVID fatigue. So soon as the semester starts, there's going to be another push for that. Please wear a mask, watch your distance, wash your hands. COVID-19 at Fenton, here is our scorecard here. As you can see, it picked up this last week or two, but in general, staff, 14 staff this semester tested positive for COVID, and 47 students confirmed cases. Any questions with the COVID updates?
Is Fenton going to be offering the booster, how we did the vaccine?
You're right. We were one of the first to offer boosters at the beginning of the year. Rick, was that August or July? I forget. It was a little bit late October. Okay, so we were the first. Since the booster is so widespread and ubiquitous, I think we're going to pass that on, but we still do encourage folks to please get your primary shot, and if you haven't already, take your booster.
Why the spike?
Why this?
Well, I mean.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just jump in. So, I mean, it's consistent with the spike in COVID in the state of Illinois. If you look at the data, we had a nice, consistent run of weeks. But we don't see that this is dissimilar to like what we saw, if you see in September, where we had about 10 cases total, when the numbers were higher. And even the quarantine levels are higher right now. You know, there's speculation on, obviously, Thanksgiving was a time of gathering and travel. Did that have something to do with it? But when you look at the state of Illinois numbers, obviously, you know, we wish the numbers maintained low, but it's sort of part of our reality right now. Staff have been great. You know, we just keep plugging away and following the mitigation efforts and staying as safe as we can. But, you know, we'll get through this week, and then we'll see what comes after, obviously, the winter break. But it's in that type of season where we're probably going to see escalated numbers.
I heard a virologist say that it's like we don't really have the cold and flu season, we have a low vitamin D level season, where everybody's vitamin D levels drop off in the fall and the winter because we've turned away from the sun, and so we're not getting the exposure to the sun to create vitamin D in ourselves. We have to increase our vitamin D levels.
Any other questions? All right, next slide. This next topic is about intergovernment agreements, okay, in particular TCD. As you know, we send our students to TCD, the Technology Center of DuPage, for CTE classes. Just real quick, let me give you a quick background, and I'll talk about the IGA, intergovernments, and that needs to be renewed. So it's consisted of 14 high schools: Hinsdale, DuPage, Downers Grove, Lake Park, Westmont, Naperville, Elmhurst, Lyons, Indian Prairie, Lisle, Wheaton, Fenton, West Chicago, and Glenbards. And next slide, please. And here are some of the offerings there at TCD that our students can take: auto body repair, automotive technology, computer information system, construction trades, cosmetology, criminal, just to name a few there. Students really take advantage of those classes here as well. Just like any contract or intergovernment agreement, it has to be renewed. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to you, I sit on the board, I'm the president of the TCD board, and our job tomorrow, actually, we have a meeting to revise the wording, just like any other IGA. And part of the reason why I'm bringing this up to you, because eventually the board, the TCD board, will take a vote on it, okay, which is consists of superintendents. Then I bring it back to you to get your approval on it, okay? Because we have this partnership with TCD. I just want to make sure I take every step. What I would do over there, I present it to you, okay? So what I'm going to present today, right now, is basically the language change that we will look at tomorrow. Because I don't want you to be surprised a month, probably it's going to be either January or February, when all of a sudden I bring you an IGA, and you're like, James, what is this IGA? Well, remember, in December I brought this up, there was going to be some language change in this agreement. Nothing really much has changed, it's just a language change at this present moment. The tuition fees is still the same, it's still the same 14 different high schools. The courses are the same, it's just this has to be renewed every 5 years or so. Next slide here. Oh, next one. Do you have the PDF, Jim? Okay. So I want you to get a visual. I want the board to get a visual of the IGA. And when we have revised it, reworded it, and reformatted, you will get a copy. You will see a lot of, kind of like some of the contracts that we've worked on, there's a lot of cross-outs. And why the new language? It's because ISB has different rules and regulations now. I'll give you a couple examples here. for example, the first page is changing, this is the IGA. Jim, if you could scroll down, first page, I think, is page numbers and table of content. That's been revised. You see the red stop right there, Jim? Basically formatting the pages there. Next page. The date that it's going to be effective, and some different wording there as well. For example, I'll leave it right here. Some of the revision has been changed. For example, instead of Illinois Revision Stat 1985, the authority to granted by the Illinois State Code and the Illinois Intergovernment Cooperation. Thank you, Jim. The purpose of the system is to develop and implement a regional education for employment program for students who are enrolled in member districts. So things like that. So I hope that you guys are getting, it's nothing major, there's nothing change, there are definitely changes there, but it's the wording and the vernacular there and the vocabulary as well. Instead of area, the recommendation by the state is resident attendance. I can keep on going unless you give me the nod. Okay, we got it, James.
We got it.
Okay, thank you. So,
So is it, these
you
are
were
in
gonna make
red.
me go to the
Why-
28th.
Is this new? I mean, like, why are these in red?
because they wanted to include that, name all the schools that
Oh,
are
okay,
involved,
you're
yes.
just adding
It's the
that
same
in.
schools.
Okay, all right.
This is considered and revised on an annual basis?
This is actually for 2023. We would like to
Okay.
work on this now because it's going to be 2022. And if we don't have assigned IGA, they're going to lose funding. And the two grants there, help me remember, Michelle, is Perkins or Bruce? CTE grant and Perkins. And that's a lot of our money here for our CTE classes here and also to assist us send kids to TCD. Does that make sense? We'll revisit this again, okay? We just want to let you know we're doing some changes with the IGA. We'll bring it back to you. I'll bring it back to you either January or February when the TCD board has voted on it.
So the big thing is, the schools are the same, the fees are the same, the classes are the same, and we're updating the language to become compliant with all the changes that came out.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Future Green Energy Consortium. I brought this up last board meeting in regards to sustainability and green. As you know, I reached out. This is once again still fledgling stage. It's a neophyte stage right here. We haven't signed anything. We haven't agreed to anything. This is all conversation in regards to working with the Future Green Energy Consortium, which was basically endorsed by the Illinois Association of School Board. You saw them when we went to III, some of you. They're also endorsed with the Illinois Association of School Administrators. A lot of schools are taking advantage of this. So what have we done? I want to keep you guys posted on this. They've asked for our roof sizes. So I went on the roof and measured. I did not do that. Tommy did it. So they wanted to see the roof sizes. As you can see right there, we got plenty. There's a lot of surface area there, okay? They also want to know roof condition. Can it support panels, right? Is it strong enough? In general, our roof, it's well taken care of. And there are some issues that we're working on. And lastly, they requested yearly electric costs. How much does it, what's the electricity cost for Fenton during a duration of 12 months? And thank you, Mr. Martin, for supplying that information to Future Green. So that's where we're at, okay? And once again, this is why are we doing? Once again, is sustainability. We're doing the right thing for our planet. And number two is cost efficiency. We believe we could reduce our electrical costs anywhere from 20% to 60%. And the way they described it is basically, it's like a tollway, right? To go to the tollway, you gotta use their toll. Here, with Future Green, with solar panel is, we don't have to use a tollway. We bring in our own energy here. There's no delivery costs, okay? And that's where the saving is. Hope that makes sense. I will continue to bring more information in regards to solar panels.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we consider, say, is it easy removed if there's a repair that needs to be done to, say, the roof? You know, is there, the solar panels, are they designed in a way that if there needed to be a repair done,
That's a
that
great question.
can be,
That's a great question. That was one of our questions, Bruce and I, in regards to future green energy consortium. When they put this in for us, they are responsible for it.
yeah.
The actual installation and maintenance, nothing to the school.
Of the panels, but our roof underneath is still our responsibility.
It's still our, yes,
And we can remove the panels to access the roof.
absolutely.
And they've been made aware of our potential referendum and the fact that we could be remodeling in the next 2 to 3 years, and how would that impact? If we have to remodel, do we incur the cost of the panels with the remodel?
Right.
How
We
are
have
we
not had that
building that in?
discussion, John.
Okay,
Okay.
Not
So,
yet?
Not yet.
we haven't gotten
We
that far?
We haven't gotten that far.
Okay,
Good
just
question,
checking.
though.
Are there any, considering the age of the building, new technology, is there any internal upgrades to make the systems adaptable to the energy coming in as far as our building?
Bruce, I'm going to turn that over to you or Jose.
Yeah, we've done a number of things over the years, and taken advantage of energy grants through the state of Illinois. For instance, our LED lighting, we just did some upgrades last year in the 2 gyms. So it's basically a subsidized, new product that's installed, and also not only subsidizes the cost of the installation and the product, and it lowers our overall energy cost as well as improving the lighting in the areas that we needed to have it improved in, so.
So those upgrades take care of any potential compatibility issues
Carrie?
or concerns?
Right.
Carrie, was your question related to, during installation, was there any internal wiring or energy upgrades in the
Was
building? Is that what you're?
compatibility. With our building being old, I
Right.
wasn't sure about any recent upgrades to allow for a potential upgrade or change like this, because with the differences in age, you can have some compatibility issues that we incur some cost internally to upgrade in order to take advantage of something like that.
Once again, we're in the neophyte fledgling stage here. These are just sizes and conditions at this moment. I would like to invite Future Green, Carrie, to come in here and really take a tour of our roof, and we could ask those questions there. I think it's too early to say at this moment.
Okay.
And we're going to seek out other options as well.
Absolutely.
too.
Absolutely. Any other questions on that one? Seeing none, next slide, please. This next one, I'm really excited, and you should all be excited for this one as well. This one real here, I'm going to read real slow, but I know you can read. It says Fenton and the Bensenville Park District continued collaboration. We've been working, as I report every board meeting, is that the relationship between the taxing bodies has improved tremendously, in particular the Park District. It's gotten so important here that with the director of the Park District, Mr. Joe Velez, we were able to brainstorm and ask really tough questions in regards to the future of Bensenville. Okay, real short, this is still preliminary, this is conceptual, this is potential. It's not concrete, okay? And I've worked with Joe and said, hey, look, this is what I'm gonna present to the board, are you okay with it? Okay, or am I saying too much? He goes, no, go with it. Okay, so real quick, as you know, they're selling a large portion of White Pines, okay? Anywhere between 120, 150 million, and that's not, once again, those are conceptual numbers, but that's what they're expecting. They will utilize a percentage of the sale and the sale money there and pump it back to the community, okay? Park District conceptual project is this. They would like to put in 4 turf fields in Bensenville. One of them here at Fenton High School with a dome.
With a dome.
So we could use it for 12 months. So Joe and I, we sat down for hours, say, hey, how's the dates, the times, students, you know where I'm going. And that is, our kids have to have first dibs. It's on our property. We would like to own it, okay? And when we're not using it, it would be the Park District, and quite frankly, the fields aren't really utilized in the summer, okay? Some of them. It is, and it's not. We have, this would involve an IGA, So I'm requesting the board, or giving a nod, that I will, just informing you too, that I will continue to talk with Mr. Velez in regards to this possibility. They're very strong with this. They're strong, so strong with this that Mr. Velez is willing to come here and make a presentation to our board with maps and fields. In the meantime, I spoke to him last week as well, and basically showed what we have been showing in our public engagement of our master plan in regards to our fields and what we hope to do there as well. I think this is a win-win-win for our community, our taxpayers, our students. If you really look at Bensonville, there isn't one public soccer field in Bensonville. There isn't. They would like to infuse 4. The conversation will continue. I would like to invite them either January or February, and there's going to be more information. But this is definitely exciting news for us. A domed turf field, soccer size.
Where did they see the benefit in it being here? Like, in reference to the park district and the school? Are they thinking, oh, there are children there, there's programs through the park district? Why did they choose this place?
And that's something that I think Joe and I have a philosophical agreement on and belief, strong belief. Bensonville children is all of our children.
Yeah.
The children that goes to the park district is Fenton children. The kids that go to Fenton are their children. I think that's it's a beautiful understanding that they're all our kids. It benefits everybody. We really will write out an IGA that both sides could live with, but that's the philosophy. We got to service, and if our children benefit, and they're all our children, the family benefits, and if the families benefit at Bensonville, the whole community benefits. I mean, we like to be at first in everything. We would probably be one of the first to have a domed soccer field in DuPage, I believe, and maybe the state.
So by field, we're talking about possibly, and I know this is all preliminary.
Yes.
I'm just trying to wrap my arms around this, because this is, anytime it sounds too good to be true, it scares me. But this is too good to be true, I hope. So basically, this could take the place of our football field and take it out of here, right? Or is it gonna be besides our football field? Is this gonna be a soccer, football, all in one? Is it just gonna be soccer? Is it gonna
Right.
include the stands?
The preliminary thought is to continue to have a football stadium as well as a field, and to convert the football stadium to be soccer size as well. Because a domed soccer size field will not be able to house the audience or the spectators.
That's where I was going with this. So this would not be in lieu of
Correct.
our own potential repairs.
That's right. It would complement it.
Oh,
And quite frankly, you're putting, just thinking ahead, it would probably offset or erase or delete the practice field that we were planning in our plan, since we have
So
this.
it's still gonna benefit, and we could remove from here potentially something
Potentially.
and use that as the practice field, soccer field, but we'll still need to address our own potentially field needs if,
Absolutely.
depending on the community engagement and the direction we take.
Right, the stadium field in particular, our softball, our baseball fields.
See, I thought it was too good to be true when I read it, because I was thinking big. I thought too big. All right, thank you for the clarification.
We could ask
Still
for
a
more.
positive.
We could still ask for more money then. Hey, look, could you just do all of our fields?
yes, I think that'd be a great idea.
We don't
So
know-
when we ask those questions, when folks ask those questions in public engagement, what else are you doing besides grants and asking potentially?
No, this is good.
We partner up. We look at our taxing body and say, hey, look, how can we all benefit the citizens of Bensonville and Wooddale?
No, this is all good. It's still a positive. Not as positive as I'd hoped for, but still a positive.
All right, any other questions? So more to come on that. So I'm getting a nod. We continue to have a conversation with the Park District. And I also saw nods in regards to inviting Mr. Velez here to present some of the ideas, the preliminary ideas. Okay, thank you. This next one is the draft 2022-2023 student school calendar. You guys are aware of this. We've shared this with District 2, District 7. We've shared this with our staff. We've shared it with the board. And once again, this is a draft. The goal is to vote on this in January. So I want to go over this with you real quick. Next slide, Jim. Here's a visual of how it would look like. Once again, this is the 21-22 school calendar, 22-23 school calendar. The picture threw me off there. So, state requirement, 176 days. That's what we got to work with, 176 days. Elementary and middle and high school calendars are different. We work in semesters, okay? Algebra, let's just take art one. Let's just take art semester one should have the same amount of number of days as art in semester two. We try to keep that anywhere between 88 and 89 days to get that 176. Okay, I think the math is wrong on that one there, but it should be 88 and 88 instead of 88, 89. But you get the idea, we want it balanced. The first day of school, similar to this year, and this is pretty much all similar to what we have for this school year. There really isn't much wiggle room here. We know we have to start in August and end before June. August 10th is the first day of students. Thanksgiving holiday is a little bit different here, kind of like District 7 there in Wooddale. There will be no school that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. No student attendance. No student attendance.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Why not start the following week in August and still go to school that week in November? Because it's just, it's so early starting.
It's a possibility. So you're saying basically start that next, there is, because that would be 2 days, there's 3 days, we start Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so the first day of school would be a Friday. And we would like to avoid that, starting the first day of school at the end of the week there as well. That's just
No,
something
go
that.
to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of Thanksgiving week.
Our practice right now is that we don't have, I think that's in general, public schools do not attend Wednesday of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is that Thursday. And I think that's been in play for how long, Mary? For a while now?
3 or 4 years
3 or
that we
4,
haven't had to
Wednesday.
work on Wednesday.
Okay, once again, this is a draft. That's a good question there. Let me go through it, and we could dissect it a little bit more. So Thanksgiving there, end of semester one, December 21st, I believe that is a Wednesday. Christmas falls on a Sunday, if I remember it correctly. We don't want to end on that Friday because the next day would be Christmas Eve. I think this is good for our families there. Winter break is December 22nd then to January 6th. Spring break is always at the last week of March. Graduation is Sunday, May 21st, because the Sunday before is Mother's Day. Is that accurate? We want to avoid that conflict there. Then lastly, end of semester two is May 24th, before the Memorial Day holiday. Part of the reason there is that we want our kids to have first dibs on all the jobs here in DuPage. Any questions there? That's a great question, Patty. I heard your concern. Hey, look, we're starting too early was the concern. I think that's pretty much, I know the grammar school starts that Monday. High schools in DuPage pretty much August 10th, August 11th. We like to start on Wednesday because Monday and Tuesday would be our staff institute. So we rev them up, get them ready, get them pumped for the school year, then start our kids that Wednesday.
So why was 176 days, you said that was the goal?
That's the state mandate.
That's the mandate.
Okay, so it doesn't.
Would you like more days? I think that's yep, 176, yes. And once again, we want to balance semester one and semester two. Sylvia there.
So there's no room for any other days off, right? I mean, if, you know what I'm saying?
We have to take in consideration the federal and state holidays.
Right.
We also have to take into consideration the different contracts that we honor with FEA, FLOSS, and SEIU. We have 12-monthers to keep in mind, as well as 11-monthers, and obviously the to 12-month employees as well.
Okay.
There's a lot of variables there, but what really drives us, Sylvia, is the state mandate, 176, and keeping semester 1 and semester 2 balanced. Because you don't want to have 76 days of art semester 1 and 102
Right, no. I
semester 2.
understand.
And you could think about what happens with math and language and social studies. We could revisit this, okay? But I would like to approve this because families are asking. They want to plan their summer break or their trip next year, especially the winter break. We've had positive feedback in regards to Thanksgiving, and the local school district is doing that already. They don't have student attendance on those days. I think they have an institute day as well as a parent conference the entire day.
We have an election next
We
year?
have, yes, we do have an election, as you saw.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
Yep.
22nd, okay.
November
8th.
8th.
Yeah. It was like, do we even elect, but yeah, the 22.
Okay?
When we set up these calendars, I'm sure we probably take some input from different stakeholders.
Absolutely, in particular, District 2 and District 7. In particular, our breaks, a winter break as well as our spring break, because they want their kids, if they got a high school kid and they have a elementary school, they want the high school kid to be at home when the breaks are there to take care of their brothers and sisters. So we want to be cognizant of making sure, honoring the family.
So will we be taking action on this next month, or are you looking for a motion this evening?
No, next month.
Okay.
It's all next month. I'd like to give you guys a first look at it. Okay? Fantastic. This one, every month, we like to talk about the Esser update. I'm going to hand it over to Michelle Papanikolaou and Mr. Martin.
We're going to co-present, but I'll go ahead and get it started. As Mr. Enrollment mentioned, we've been providing the board updates on Esser funding pretty much monthly through the school year. And Esser, just as a reminder, and this is kind of a mouthful, elementary and secondary school emergency relief. So that's what Esser stands for. They are federal funds intended to help school districts, assist school districts during this pandemic. So that's kind of the purpose of the funding, and we'll talk a little bit more specifically as we kind of go through this tonight. But specifically, ESSER 3 we're going to talk about tonight, and that's the latest funding available, and this is budgeted as well, just a reminder about that. So we'll go over the next few slides, answer any questions that you may have, and but we are following the guidance for these funds from the Illinois State Board of Education, and we're going to talk about next steps as well with the ESSER funds and what the district is planning on doing.
You can,
Next slide. Batson?
we can go back one slide, actually. Do you want me to talk about public comment?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, if you can go back one more. Thank you. So when writing this grant, Bruce and I do this somewhat collaboratively. He takes care of the numbers, I take care of the narrative. And part of the grant is to ensure that we provide the public the opportunity to provide input in the development of the district plan and for the use of the ESSER funds. So we're pretty early on in this grant right now. It runs through September 30th of 2024. There were some things that we put in motion pretty quickly, but there's still a lot of time before we actually finalize this grant. So our plan is to put out for public input in January. We're going to post on our public website our plan and our, so that covers two things: the safe return to in-person instruction. So what are we doing towards prevention and mitigation strategies? The second thing that we're going to post is how we're planning to spend our funds. So these two areas will be publicly displayed on our website for 30 days. There'll be a survey that folks can fill out. We'll also obviously open for public comments at a board meeting, so that'll be next month. That'll all be detailed on the front page of the website starting January 4th and ending February 4th. We'll still keep it on the website in our COVID area of the website, but it'll be front-facing, front page for a month. Overall, we just need to ensure that our plan is focusing on academics and social-emotional impact. So there's a lot of different criteria. We're going to take you through the slides that'll be on the website, so you have a preview before it actually goes up. So the first thing it will talk about is the goal of our Fenton High School safe return to in-person instruction plan. It'll point to the Illinois State Board of Education supporting in-person learning plan, as well as the CDC guidelines that we follow. So in those CDC guidelines, we talk about mitigation guidance like face masks, social distancing, quarantining requirements, extensions, extending to meet the guidance from ISB, and then cleaning our air and our air circulation protocols and making sure everything's as safe as possible. And then we'll go into our plan for using the additional funding, which at this time, our plan is there's some work on hiring of additional staff for academic and social emotional needs, as well as some mitigation and prevention safety strategies. So this is our learning loss counselor to help create plans and monitor student progress for those who are deficient in credits or on quarantine status. Our learning lab tutors to help mitigate learning loss during the pandemic, an additional social worker to assist with students' mental health concerns. Additional staff to teach sections of mathematics as a remedy to students' learning loss during the pandemic. And finally, the Director of Equity and Innovation to oversee learning labs, data analysis of student learning loss, and the creation of innovative programs to address student learning loss. There's a particular component of this grant. There's 12 major categories. One doesn't pertain to us because it's early childhood. But one of the major categories is implementing an equitable and inclusive return to in-person instruction. So we will fund the Director of Equity and Innovation through this grant. So the other, and maybe Bruce can talk to this a little bit more, we've talked about this before, is the facility improvements for air quality. And we'll outline that in terms of HVAC and MEP.
Yes, thanks, Michelle. We already used some of our other grant money, previous grant for our ionizers, as you may recall, to help improve air quality. And this grant will continue that work really throughout the building. That will not really interfere with anything that we may do in the future, so we're very mindful of that. So I just want to make that clear to everyone. But what we've done as we continue through this process, we've included and purchased air purifiers for each classroom. We have a higher grade air filter than we've used in the past. We're installing a unit ventilator in one of our classrooms that it's just not, doesn't have appropriate airflow, so we're hopefully going to get that installed over the break, and the board already approved that. So these are ongoing things. There'll continue to be more things. We'll update the board on that as well as we look at air quality and assess the conditions of those systems in our building.
Mm-hmm.
I should say too that this is a 3-year grant, so it's we have 3 years to spend these funds through September 30th of 2024, so just so everyone's aware of that. This bucket of money is about $1.6 million, and so it's on a reimbursement basis, so as we expend the funds, we seek a reimbursement on a quarterly basis, so that's kind of how it works. And that's consistent with pretty much all the grants, federal grants that we have that come into the district.
And then on the last page, we'll have a thank you for your input, link to a feedback survey, and based on that feedback survey, based on any public comment that comes in our January board meeting, we'll take that input and put it into consideration into our grant.
Are they pretty good with the reimbursement, like, you know, as far as time frame is concerned, when you spend, you know, when the school spends the money, the government sends reimbursement?
They are, as long as we get it within their timeline, which is typically 20 days after the close of the quarter. I would say less than a month, they're refunding the money, so, back to us. So they're good with that, yeah.
How much of the 1.6 have we used?
Thus far, probably roughly about a third, yeah. And that's in the budget this year that the board approved back in September, so.
I think this whole exercise is an accountability by the state. We've done, I think, we work diligently. The first requirement was make sure you talk about it at the board meeting, and we did. Esser 1, Esser 2, and Esser 3, we've been diligent about that. We do it every month. It's a running joke with administrators. We always put Bruce up to talk to it, and it's basically the same information over and over. Now they have taken to a next stage. Now you got to push it on the website. So once again, it's an accountability.
Now, what means are you evaluating the success of the ionizer, the air purifiers on their quality? Do you have a means of evaluating or measuring this, you know, the improvement of the quality of air in the building?
Yeah, we continue and have consulted with our architect, and we'll continue to work with them. We also have had engineers come in to test the airflow and the purification. So on a periodic basis, we'll have that evaluated, and if adjustments need to be made, we'll make them as needed.
Right, for example, we've done like balancing, where we looked at parts of the building to make sure that airflow's at capacity, and then make adjustments as needed, so.
So I assume that was used to place the equipment that was bought?
Both the two, before and during and after, honestly, because we've also looked at our existing systems as well to improve airflow. So we've, you know, for that work, mechanical work, we've also used some funds to devote to that to really maintain the system and make it more efficient as we kind of move through this process.
That's a really good question. Another aspect of that is besides the airflow, better quality, the mechanical improvements of it. But I think it's also a psychological, has a psychological effect to our community, our teachers who work here every day. Hey, look, the board and the admin is doing the best they can to improve air quality, and it gives you more, we say ganas, more enthusiasm. Hey, look, it is a safe place. And once again, the title here is to return safely back to school. Okay. Can we move on? We got a couple more slides here. Next one is a FOIA from local labs, okay? And they were basically asking, do we use Panorama Educational Program? We do not know what that program is. We had to look it up. It's basically an independent educational technology company. We do not use that program, so we basically, that has been resolved, and that's what we reported to local labs. Next slide, this one right here. What we like to do here is basically a semester one review, what we have done, our safe return back to school. It's only been 4 months, but it feels like 2 years. I mean, quite frankly, the stuff is going on. And we're gonna tag team this with Principal Benson.
Great, I mean, it's been a great year, obviously, here we are, December the 15th, we had our luncheon today, it was a festive atmosphere. We significantly accomplished something here. I know we keep emphasizing it, but one of the points why we want to continue to celebrate that we've done this collectively together. So part of that review is obviously looking at demographics. You can see the breakdown there. I would say our 9th grade class is obviously a little bit higher, which is encouraging.
Yeah.
Moving forward, that we have a vibrant community and more kids coming. I wanted to highlight our EL. Oh, yeah, I thought I was maybe. wasn't on, but anyway. Our EL population is rising. There's reasons for that. I would say we're about 70 students higher. Part of that, without going into a lot of detail, is access testing is occurring in 8th grade. And with the pandemic and everything, there was a low turnout of access testing. We also do that here at the high school, but that really does account for that spike. Typically, we're just around 200 or a little bit more than 200. So that may come down, but obviously we have a diverse population coming to this country. A few years ago, there was from Guatemala. That seems to have settled down, and our primary, we have students still coming from Mexico. But that was maybe a little bit out of what our normal numbers look like, but that's sort of the explanation there. Otherwise, yep, everything else was consistent. And as we take a look, this is our enrollment by race. I know that's hard to see. I have the percentages here. It breaks down to approximately 2.1% Asian, 2.6% Black African American. White is at about 27.7%. Hispanic Latino at 64.6%. And then 2 or more races at about 2.7%. And we know through these board meetings that we've had a lot to celebrate throughout this school year. But just to kind of recap, you can see the successes we've had as far as all conference athletes. Remember, we joined the Upstate 8, a few years back, and here we are garnering athletic accomplishments. We're extremely competitive in this conference, which was an upgrade to where we were before. So we're proud of all of our students there. You remember we meeting Victor a board meeting or two ago, and his accomplishments. You may remember the boys soccer team winning the 2A regional championship. And of course, our ILMEA selections. We've heard many of these students singing throughout the year and at recent concerts. Just tremendous musical talent here at Fenton.
Okay, my turn real quick. This is an exercise we like to do every semester to make sure we celebrate our accomplishment, but also to preview what's coming second semester. So later on, we're going to discuss about what's coming second semester. So real quickly, we've hit this theme over and over. We had a safe return back to Fenton. That means all students, all staff, all athletics, all clubs, all parent outreach. We're back to normal on that one. And I would say it's been very successful because of the collaboration, as Sam was talking about. We've also, this semester, the COVID mitigation has been successful. We led the way in testing and contact tracing. That includes vaccination, booster shots, PPEs, signage of COVID. As you know, kids are coming back. How far do I have to be away from the other student? The signage, the logistics, the tent that we had, COVID testing, verification, ventilation, ionization, and the nurse support. We also have to address, and we're doing it real well, pretty well here, is address the learning loss and SEL as well for our students coming back from the pandemic. We've also had flexible furniture in all the classroom, and SER funding managed that accurately and effectively and fiscally as well. Strategic Plan 2.0 was accomplished this semester. Our equity journey continues with DELT and DEI training. Our community committee and public engagement session has been successful. We're in phase 2 right now. Collaboration with the taxing bodies and school district has been strong since we've returned to our to school. In particular, in my part here, assisting the interim superintendent at District 2, as well as working with Joe Velez and the Park District with some initiatives coming second semester. Also, we accomplished, thank you board, for our district and SEIU agreement. It seemed like it was forever. The Arbor adjustment was fantastic. The workers there at Arbor are very thankful to the board that we made that salary adjustment for them, which is the right thing to do. Also, the Fenton and I spoke about this, the Park District collaboration. We also have a new board member here, Carrie Lewis, that we're excited to work with, and we continue to feed our families. okay, during this trying times with food for families. What else did we do this semester? Part 2, continue to collaborate with COD and other colleges towards establishing dual credit opportunities for students. As you know, I went to their one of their board meetings and made a public comment that this has to move forward. Ongoing articulation with District 2 and District 7 in areas of career programming. We established a DuPage ROE workplace experience network in collaboration with the Regional Office of Education. Thank you, Mrs. Papanikolaou. Professional development for all staff, admin, board members, teachers, non-certified, at will, all staff. Weekly newsletters published on their website for easier access and sharing. Thank you, Mr. Cambick. Continued presence of the Bensenville Independence newspaper. They are taking, the newspaper here in Bensenville, they're really taking a lot of from our weekly newsletter and publish there at their newspaper. We continue to continue student-led IEPs in our special education department, continue to infuse restorative practices in our daily discipline, establish student voice committee, establish restorative practices and discussion groups with our deans. What do we have to preview for semester 2? Construct the strategic plan 2.0. You guys created and passed the strategic plan. Now it's the admin's turn to put in action plans. As you know, you heard Mrs. Papanikolaou, we cannot have over 83 action plans. That is really not doable. I agree with her, but we're not in a good start because we have 20 goals to put on top of that. So you do the math. I think we're going to break 82 action plans. We're going to continue with the phase 3 of our facility initiatives with EOS, as well as our architect and our community. We're going to continue to combat COVID through our mitigations, whether it's vaccination, the 3 Ws, air quality, and so forth. We're going to establish more dual credit, dual enrollment opportunities with our partners, establish more workplace internship experience for our students. We're going to continue to develop COVID learning laws and prevention and mitigation there. We're going to increase parent outreach and involvement. Open lunch pilot will start off on January 4th. Onboard new board member, Mr. Lewis. We'll have some meetings together. Budget planning and development for fiscal year 2023 will start. Financial projection, tax implication for facility improvements will also start. Next slide here. What else are we going to expect? Course selection and master schedule build. Okay, so our students are starting that. I think it started a week ago. Then we'll slowly build a master course program where what classes is Amber going to take and James over here and start to create that. That's a couple months worth of work. We're going to launch a new COVID shield testing. It's a saliva test. We're going to introduce Be a Good Force for Good. It's an anti-bullying program. Mr. Madel's going to lead that charge. We're going to plan for our next year hires. We have 2 retirements this spring that needs to replace, and we'll look at our hires as well in FTEs. We're going to continue to amend the Esser grant as needed. We're going to amend the fiscal year 2022 budget as needed. Prepare for summer school, prepare for fall semester, and continue to combat COVID through mitigation. Any questions with the preview and review? Got one more item. That's a lot, right? We did. You guys did awesome. Can we give each other a hand there? That was a lot. Come on now. It felt like forever. So you guys did a lot. Go ahead, kid. You had that comment? No. Okay. Just real quick. Lastly, totally different topic, but very, very important to us. Last Friday, during a basketball game at Glenbard South High School, one of our students reported a racial slur incident. At Fenton, we respect all races and cultures. Fenton does not tolerate racism nor racist behavior. Our administrator investigated and addressed the incident with the Glenbard administration. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, James. Any questions or comments? Anything about the informational items you'd like to follow up with? If not, let's go right to consent agenda, get it going. Do we have anything going on there? Do we have any questions or comments about the consent agenda?
Juliet, you asked a question that I had, which, thank you, but like, what does it mean to be overloaded, but to overload, so, and instructional coach, what's an instructional coach?
You want to take that one, Michelle? What is an instructional coach?
Right, so we have 7 instructional coaches, they've been in our contract now for, I think, 4 or 5 years. We have 7 of them, one of them went on a leave, a family medical act leave, so we hired somebody to replace that person in the interim. But they host professional development, they coach new teachers and veteran teachers, you know, through their evaluations, just in the classroom, how to improve practice overall.
Okay.
Just to answer the question, let me just fall back. The question was, and you guys got the email, was what is an overload? We had a teacher taking FMLA, and one of our teachers took over that class. So that's what basically taking over the classes, taught the class, and that's what we call as an overload. There's extra pay for that. It's because instead of 5 classes, now you have 6.
And I noticed in the personnel that we're increasing our math hours to 0.4, increasing that. Do you wanna, and is that because of the?
Michelle or Sam, take that question there.
Sure, right. In our discussion with the math department, learning loss and overcoming, really we look at what occurred in 8th grade. No disrespect to the sender districts, but as they get used to our math curriculum, we targeted that group to bring the class sizes down, provide more intervention for students. So that's the recommendation there. We would be able to do that right at the start of 2nd semester. So here we are in December, this gets approved, we're springing into action so that kids can get more support, basically because of learning loss and the pandemic effects.
Right, it's part of that COVID, you're gonna hear that over the COVID learning loss, and that's why the government is providing funding via Esser. And the question is, how are you gonna offer more classes and what kind of budget are you gonna use? It's gonna go through the Esser funds. And that's what it's used for.
On the COVID leave MOU, you know, we spoke of this before, I know, but just wanted to be clear, it's kind of it's an agreement, but also it's a standing agreement where if let's say COVID subsides, then we have ourselves, we can get ourselves out of that, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's limited in scope.
Okay.
And I have a question on that too. So this is only for vaccinated individuals? So if somebody who is not vaccinated,
They're not eligible for the leave, correct?
and why is that?
In our discussion, well, these discussions have been ongoing for months. And in essence, this is where we arrived at, that it would be for vaccinated.
And that's not
Basically,
discriminatory?
teachers, I'm using that term generically.
Yeah, and it is, I mean, because there are a lot of reasons why people are not vaccinated.
In the research we've done, other MOUs through other districts, this is a consistent theme that the COVID leave would apply to vaccinated teachers.
And so if someone who is not vaccinated gets COVID, then
They would just utilize their sick
Their own
time.
sick time.
Right, right.
but what if they can still teach?
They're not eligible for the COVID leave. So question is, if you're taking sick time, could you still teach? Is that the question?
Yeah.
I suppose that anyone could do that if they're utilizing sick time, could still teach. Typically, that doesn't happen, though. But you bring up a really good point as far as the teaching. That's one of when we look at this, it's one of the things where, since we're asking people to stay at home to keep everybody safe, if they have COVID, the ability to have instruction from those that are at home I think is, again, one of the benefits of the MOU.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay. So, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John.
A second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Rego,
Yes.
Haid,
Yes.
Jallowitz,
No,
Redzinski,
Yes.
Lewis,
Abstain.
Figueroa,
Yes.
Ting-Pao-Pong,
Yes. I believe motion passed. Let's get to the committee reports. Let's start with the Bensonville Community Foundation. Anything new?
No, unless you have something, Julia.
No, we have a meeting next month, and I think that, James and I talked, and
Yes.
I think that, Eileen Roberts is going to put together a small video that we can show to the board regarding some of the mini grants that we had, that Fenton had asked for, to give a little bit more explanation of what exactly that Fenton's looking for, which might, I think, explain in a little more detail and give, just give a little more explanation and clarity to what it is that the school is looking for. And hopefully, you know, maybe they'll grant the mini grants, or at least a portion of the monies to the school. So we'll see how that goes after that meeting. I'm
Is this-
sorry, I meant to talk to you about that,
Oh,
Sylvia,
okay.
and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you.
so that was like for the AP testing and, yeah, yeah.
And it sounds like part of the funds went to the public library, to the Bensonville Library. Some of those funds, right?
I couldn't understand that.
Some of those funds went somewhere else?
Well, I mean, I unfortunately wasn't able to attend that last meeting, so I'm not exactly sure what the discussion was. So it will be, and I believe Sylvia was not there either, so it'll be good to be able to be at the next meeting and be able to, you know, have a more clear discussion with them about what we're looking for, I think.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? That'll be it? Finance Facilities Committee, I think we have anything there?
Nothing new to report. We'll have to work out when our next meeting is.
Our next meeting will probably, not in January, it would be February.
After we get the report in January, move forward with a February meeting.
That's
Which
accurate.
makes sense. So really nothing new that we haven't already been brought up to date on.
Yep, and then we've got our new
We
committee
did find
member.
another co-chair for you.
That's right, John.
I didn't expect him to comment on the past. He wasn't here, so.
And we're all backing up
No comment.
Leo, just remember that. I don't have anything to report as far as the SB delegate. Lend
Nothing to report.
and NIDSEC,
We had two meetings. The previous meeting, it was on November 30th. The governing meeting get together because we got to evaluate the educators. That's based on COVID. The board decided to waive that one, so the evaluation for the teachers, it was like the previous year. Last Monday, we had the operational meetings, and we hear about the enrollment. We got 173 students. We got a employee recognition, and we hear about the financial reports, and believe me, they are doing really good. Of course, there is some items that is need to be taken care in the facilities. One boiler didn't function, so they got to repair and do some minor repairs in the building. So it's my report for the NASIC.
thank you, Leo. And the policy committee, we had this earlier before this meeting.
And we
We
will
went through
look
it.
at them in January and
Next
vote,
week.
or to
Okay.
accept the new
Very good.
policy.
The next board meeting, new business, is Wednesday, January 19th, 2022 at 7. And we have a policy committee meeting will take place again prior to that one, January board meeting at 6 PM.
Can I ask a clarifying question in regards to policy committee? We've reviewed all of the policies. Patty, are you saying, do we need the policy committee to review it again, or are we ready to vote?
No, I think we would
Oh,
just put
we
it
are.
on the agenda to vote.
Okay.
Yeah, because, yeah, because we.
Okay, so we'll scratch that board meeting next
Scratch the policy
January.
meeting.
Yep, and then we'll go right into the vote. So no meeting.
No
No
policy.
policy meeting prior to our next normal meeting. We'll get that out.
Waiving the second reading.
So,
And if there's any questions or anything, we can bring it up as part of the agenda
okay.
when we vote on the policy.
Yeah. Now, may I have a motion and a second to go in closed
Was
session?
there a comment there real quick? I'm sorry.
Oh.
Kid.
We just want to waive the second reading then for the policy committee?
That's correct.
Yes.
And then, and just include that in the agenda.
And then it'll be included in the consent portion of the agenda?
Yes, the voting part of it. Correct.
Yes.
I think we normally put it in discussion action items, and you could make your comments there, Patty. I would rather it be on the action item.
Know whether we were going to get through all the policies.
Right.
So it's kind of a placeholder, so that's why that policy committee meeting is not necessary.
Okay, so let's be clear. We're going to put the policy portion of it in the discussion items.
Yes.
Okay.
Mary, did you get that? It's going to be in the discussion action items, not in the consent agenda.
That's fine, I'll make a note of that, thank you.
Comments, questions, anything else? We'll go to closed session. May I have a motion and a second to go in closed session for the purpose of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting is to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted held in accordance with the Act 5 Illinois CS 120 /2C1 and collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, 5 Illinois CS 120-2C2. Can you get a
So
motion?
moved.
Yep, go ahead. And a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. That was Patty and John.
Mhm.
And I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Rego?
Yes.
Jalwick?
Yes.
Redzinski?
Yes.
Lewis?
Abstain.
And we're just voting to go into closed session.
Oh,
So-
yes.
Figueroa?
Yes.
Haid?
Okay.
Yes.
Tinkle
Yes.
Pong?
I need more.
Abstain? Yes. Okay. We are in closed session. Do you guys want to take a little break before we start again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
5 minutes, please.
That was,
So the first motion was who? Me. Okay, and then the second was,
Okay.
And I think
was
and
Leo.
Okay, thank you. Rego? Yes. Rudzinski?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Figueroa?
Yes.
Haid?
yes.
Jalowick?
Yes.
Tingpal Pong?
Yes, and motion passed. We're back in open session. We good? Doc? We're back? Okay. So a couple things that we forgot to mention, which is the committee report. And the one report that I missed was the DEI report. So we'll, do you want to take it?
Go ahead.
Sydney?
No, just
Okay.
go ahead.
So we did meet with James, and we wanted to discuss a little bit more about the direction of the, our board DI committee. And we do have, I think, a harder framework on what we want to achieve here. Part of it is we're going to start having, our first meeting is going to be March, and likely before our normal meeting. And then we are going to look at observing some DELT meetings, as well as, what else trying to recall everything.
The SU, Padres.
Right, so essentially, making sure we go and reach out to some of our diverse groups and listen into the community and see what we can formulate. So the first meeting is going to be March, and we'll announce it publicly and all that. So with that said, I need a motion to adjourn in a second.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, that's John and Sylvia. And can I get a roll call, please?
Rego? Yes. Lewis?
Yeah.
Figueroa?
Yes.
Haid?
Yes.
Jalowick?
Yes.
Rudzinski?
Yep.
Tingpal Pong?
Yes, and everybody get home safe. Happy holidays. Everyone, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, and congratulations, Juliet Rego.
Yeah.